Hi Leo, welcome back to Yellow Cardinal Tarot. My name is Carol and this is going to be your reading for the end of May. So I wanted to get an idea of your energy going into June, and this will be your last reading with me before you get your June reading, your monthly reading. So Leo, today what we're going to do is I'm going to start off by looking at what situation, what issue you're dealing with right now. Could be a pattern that's showing up in your life and you're starting to realize, you know what, this has happened before. And so maybe it's that, right? It'll often show up for the first section. And then in the second section, we're going to look at what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing, that's having an impact on the situation that you're sitting with. And so we're going to be doing some shadow work. And if you're not familiar with the word shadow or shadow work, I will leave a video for you that I've done from my other channel called Carol Cares. And the video is called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Shadow Work. And it really is a good guide to show you how to face your own shadow. And in the past 7 years, I've been doing some intensive shadow work with a life coach for my own complex trauma. And this is kind of a compilation of everything I do that I've learned throughout my own healing journey to do some shadow work. So I hope you can, have a chance to look at that. And there's some awesome videos that also I've connected in there. I've linked. And everything's free. So take advantage of that if you really want a little bit more about shadow work, even if you think you know something about it. Sometimes it's just, it's a good idea just to learn some other tools. And then finally, I'm going to ask the tarot for some guidance. And so it's going to be some guidance on, how can you heal? How can you start to heal what's coming up here in your shadow? And so we're going to start off with the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Tourian. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get into 2 or 3 clarifiers for each card. And and we should get an idea of what your energy is right now, Leo. So I hope you had a chance. I put out a couple more videos for May. I put my May reading out. I put another reading out with your inner child. If you get a chance, you can go back and look at those because the energy of those is still in effect for sure. All right, so let's begin here. Let's ask the tarot here for what situation, issue, pattern is showing up right now for Leo. So one card, ooh, that one definitely wanted to come up. The 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords explains a lot right away off the bat. What is coming up from your shadow for healing? The 4 of Swords, another Swords card. Swords are always about our mental belief systems, these ideas that we hear in our head that spin all the time. Those are our swords. And finally, what guidance does the tarot have for you right now? What guidance does the tarot have for Leo? I've got too many here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them back. I'm going to do it again. So let's try that again. What guidance does the tarot have for Leo? There we go. I was almost ready to pick something up and 4 of them fell out. The 10 of Swords. Another sword card. Wow, a lot of mental energy here. I'm going to say a lot of mental pain, mental anguish maybe, especially when you're up in your head spinning a lot. I'm feeling that's what's going on here with you. All right, let's go into the Rider-Waite deck for some clarifiers. And we're going to start off with this 5 of Swords. So I'm going to ask the tarot to give me some clarifiers for the 5 of Swords here, please. 2 or 3 clarifiers for the 5 of Swords. Oops. I have 4. The King of Cups. The Sun in reverse. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. And the Ten of Cups. Beautiful Ten of Cups. All right, 2 to 3 cards. Tell me more about this Four of Swords, please. All right, so Hierophant, I think, was the last one to fall. So we're going to go with the Five of Wands, 2 of Cups, and this is what's sitting in your shadow here in the Hierophant. Tell me more about the Ten of Swords, please. Four of Wands in reverse. And then you got the Queen of Wands in reverse. 2 wands back to back here. And the Strength card. Nice way to finish off your reading for you today, for sure. Okay, so Five of Swords comes up. The Five of Swords comes up here. Yeah. It's an interesting card here for the Five of Swords. I remember reading the description of this. I want to show it to you. This it looks like a younger person here that's sitting here looking at this butterfly that, maybe they've caught it. Somebody's caught it. It's trapped. The butterfly's trapped. And at any particular time, this looks like some kind of a pincushion here, and it's full of swords. And it's like, I believe this is what the description was. It was like at any particular time, this individual can take this this sword, and just prick this butterfly and end their life. And I mean, it's a horrible feeling, but it comes from the whole idea of, and I like the Rider-Waite deck, the way they portray it too. I call this my bullying card. It's a number 5. It definitely is a conflict card, and it brings about change. And it's the idea of, bullies bully because they have all of this shame inside of them, and they need to get it out on someone else. And so they find a victim, the butterfly here, so that they can just, dump their shit on someone else. And maybe this particular individual here is feeling quite shitty about themselves. And this is why they have these feelings of, how do I get rid of this shitty feeling in myself? And a lot of times we'll take it and we can dump it on people when we don't really realize we're doing it. And it's not, and sometimes we do realize, and it's not something we're proud of, but we just kind of lash out at other people sometimes, or we dump some shit, we say things we don't mean to say. And so I'm seeing here that, I'm wondering if you're sitting in a lot of shame or unworthiness, and just not feeling comfortable in your skin, not feeling comfortable with who you are, not liking yourself, right? Just feeling a lot of self-hate right now. And the King of Cups comes right in behind it. And the King of Cups, my kings in my deck, there are 4 of them. And my kings represent the masculine side of us. And we all have a masculine side, and we all have a feminine side, even though, a lot of us don't want to admit it, don't know about it. It has nothing to do with gender, but we have these beautiful masculine qualities, and we have beautiful feminine qualities. The king is our ego self in all the suits, and it means different things. And the King of Cups is very much our ego self runs from emotions, hates emotions, does not want you to feel. Your ego self wants to keep you up in your head with these swords. And I talked about how I feel like you're very much in your head with a lot of swords energy. And it makes sense because it opens up at the 5 of Cups. And so you're very much in your head hating probably everything about you. And, believe me, I've been there. And so this ego self is stopping you, blocking you from feeling, from really getting back into your body and feeling this hate or this shame that's sitting in your body right now. And we have a tendency to kind of just, like this individual is doing, is kind of like zone out, numb out, almost like a state of paralysis, because you just don't know what to do with this shitty shame that's sitting in your system. And especially if we have the ego blocking it and not wanting you to feel it because it's wanting to come up. And the Sun card comes right behind it. And I mean, obviously, because you're sitting in this state, the Sun card to me is all about pure joy. And I don't mean like the happiness face where you put on happiness. It just means like there's nothing bringing me joy in my life right now. Like you're sitting there in this state where it's just like, I mean, I don't feel that sense of joy that like a young child would feel, like, you know, just happy to be alive. Or sometimes it comes down to that, right? But you just don't know what things bring you joy in life. You don't know, you know, if people asked you what sort of things do you like to do, and you're like, I don't know. What things bring you joy? I don't know. And so you're really having a hard time finding joy in your life right now. And I get it. And the next card that comes out is in reverse here. And it's in reverse because this is very much blocked as well. And the ego will definitely block this. It will not want you to know this. In an upright position, there are 3 generations on this card. There is an older man here sitting at the front, and he's kind of the one that has the magical kind of wisdom. You know, he has this beautiful magical coat here. He's sitting on the outside of everything, probably because, you know, there's more that, you know, with his life experience, maybe he knows like there's more to this picture. And then there's a younger generation, and there's a very, very young child here. So you have 3 different generations here. And you have a magical wand leaning against the wall. Like nobody seems to be noticing that. Like there's some kind of magic in this card. There's some kind of like unknown, but you have to go through these walls here to find it. You got to go through the walls here to find out what it is. And the other thing that's very kind of mysterious about this card, and not a lot of tarot readers will touch upon it, is the formation of these 10 of Pentacles. It's if you were to take the picture off of the card, you'd have this formation of these nodes here, and they represent like a map. And it's called the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and it's taken from the Jewish tradition. And it's a map of life. In each node, they study certain things, and it really helps them to get more wisdom about the roots and where they came from. You know, beyond that wall, there's something more. And there's a block here. And so this card, when it comes up in my readings, because this is a healing channel and it's all about looking at your shadow, and this card is very much a generational card, but in particular, it's very much about generational trauma. We all have trauma, and it's all handed down to us. Now, the thing that I didn't touch upon about the shame card at the beginning was the fact that the shame that this individual feels, or that you're feeling right now, this unworthiness, shame is not something we're born with. Shame is something that's handed down to us by the people that took care of us, our parents, people, adults around us. They have shame. And so what you do with your shame is you try to give it to other people like a bully does, and they dumped it on us, and we end up with the shame, and then we end up giving it to other people when, you know, it's just like it's something that's handed down. And so there's very much some trauma here that needs to be looked at, that, you know, it's kind of putting you in this state of feeling very, very unworthy. Something happened when you were younger, when you were an adolescent or a small child, but it's blocked here. And maybe there's just a resistance to you to go to it. And if you're sitting in this feeling of unworthiness, the last thing you're gonna want to do is deal with this right now, because it's really painful. And this was in reverse, right? So, and then what is next is this. Had a white cat, and there's lots of hair on my shirt, but I know you can't see it on camera, but I try to pick it sometimes, which I need to stop. The 10 of Cups is next, and the 10 of Cups is, you know, in the cups, it goes from 1 to 10, the pip cards. And so this is the final card, number 10. And this is when we have the final 10 cups. And in those cups are emotions. And this card's about being able to feel all this range of emotions. And emotions are meant to flow in. We feel them, and then we let them go. We release them. They flow in, and then we release them. And that's why water is so often, and you can see some water in the background here. And when you see water in any of our cards, it represents emotions flowing. And when you see them kind of the water kind of stagnant, well, then you know that the emotions are stagnant. And I'm seeing here that you need to have, your emotions need to flow. You need to experience this full range of emotions. But this ego over here, who was right at the forefront of everything, is blocking your joy. It's blocking your looking at your trauma, your generational trauma, and is blocking these emotions that need to come up, that need to be felt in relation to this unworthiness that you're feeling. So let's look at what's coming up from your shadow that's having an impact on the situation that you're sitting in right now. Well, you have this Four of Swords, and it's in reverse. And the swords, like I said, is that mental energy. And it can be like our mental thought patterns. And because it's in reverse here, I see that there's a real resistance to doing this. But this Four of Swords means, you know, it comes right after the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords represents all this pain that you're dealing with. And then you get to the Four. And the Four talks about taking some time out. Taking some time out, get still, and needing some rest. Taking time for you. But it's in reverse here. And so what I'm seeing here is there's definitely a need for you to take some time out to really take a close look at what's in my shadow, what's coming up here, what do I need to heal? And you can only do that when you take time out for yourself. And because it's in reverse, like I said, I don't see you carving out that time for yourself and taking some real significant time for you. There is this Five of Wands that comes out after it, another five, another conflict, and that's in your shadow as well. And this is a card of these individuals all comparing their wands. You know, mine's bigger than yours. Look at mine. Look what I can do with mine. I'm better than you. I'm stronger than you. I can lift mine the highest in the air. This is called what's the ego conflict. The conflict of egos here, where you start to compare yourself to other people. And so there's a real, I feel like there's this unworthiness that's sitting, some unworthiness that is sitting in your shadow, that is causing you this unworthiness in your life right now. Because of this unworthiness that's sitting in your shadow, where you really feel less than people, you don't feel as important, you don't feel as pretty, you don't feel as strong, whatever. It's just you just don't feel as good as other people. And that's that shame. You know, maybe when you were younger, you were told that you're not good at something. You know, it could have been something at school. It could have been out in the yard, and some teacher might have said something to you, another student might have said something to you where you suck at whatever you're doing, or things like that will often that will bring in shame for sure. And then it's also the generational trauma that we get carried down from our caretakers. And because of this unworthiness that you have sitting in your shadow, you have the Two of Cups sitting behind another Cups card, another emotion card. This one speaks about a relationship between two people, very intimate relationship, very healing, because it has this winged lion here, this caduceus, and it's a healing relationship, and it's the beginning. It's number 2 in the pip cards of the cups, right? It goes from 1 to 10, so it's the beginning. And so in your shadow, I'm seeing that because of this unworthiness that you have been unable to have this intimate relationship with yourself. And if we don't have that intimate relationship with ourselves, then we definitely are going to feel, not comfortable in our own skin. We're not going to love ourselves. We're not going to be able to know what's out there for us, what brings us joy. And so this is really in your shadow, where you weren't able to start to develop this love, this intimate relationship for you. And a lot of times it's just a matter of just taking some time out for ourselves. This Four of Swords card here, and that is self-care. When we decide to take some time out for ourselves and feel these heavy emotions that we're feeling, that is self-care. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you got to go and love yourself. Well, if you're feeling that shitty about yourself, you just don't go out and love yourself. I couldn't, I've been on this, like I said, this intensive healing journey for 7 years. There was no way I could love myself. Just like, what do you mean? I had to begin in small, small steps by taking care of myself and putting me first and taking time out for me to feel these heavy emotions. And little by little, that was showing myself that I was caring for me. That's self-love. That's self-care. And so, and what I see here is right at the end of this is you have the Hierophant card. You have the Hierophant card, and the Hierophant card is another 5. So you have a lot of 5s in here. You have a 5 of Swords, you have a 5 of Wands, you have a 5 Hierophant, which is the Major Arcana card. And so 5s are really about change, and they're also about conflict. And so this card here is about this particular papal figure right here is, giving some kind of a speech here, teaching these 2 disciples below of, what he believes in, and kind of like, what's wrong, what's right. And I'm wondering if when you were younger, you were raised with a certain religion. You were raised with, this is a card of institutions, schooling, and just the way you were raised, where you were taught what's right and what's wrong. And sometimes we can, even though we don't belong to, and sometimes they'll say you're raised in a cult, and even though we don't belong to these institutions anymore, we can still kind of, our life is driven by these certain rules of what's right and what's wrong. And sometimes if we go out of the box, of what we've learned about what's right or wrong when we were younger, we can feel a lot of shame. Sometimes there are religions out there that will shame you for feeling, having committed some small crimes. Just, you know what I mean? Like just small things that you would have, and we've taken on that, not really crimes, but we've taken on that, and we continue to live by that. I just have to say that there was this thing that I saw on YouTube the other day, and I don't know what his name was, I forget, but he wrote a book, and I think it was called Finding Margaret. It was about this man that was trying to find his mother that gave him up when he was very young. And he finally found her, and she was very old by the time, he found her. And he said, when I met her, he got to meet her in person. He said, when I met her, I thought she would really want to see me, and I thought, we sat down and we talked. And there was a part of her that didn't want to see him. And when they did meet, she talked about herself, but she didn't ask one single question to the son that she gave up. And what she did say was, because of the religion that she followed, she said, I sinned. I had you out of wedlock. And so my punishment was to give you up. And I just and I don't know why this is coming to me, and it just keeps on saying, you need to mention this. And I'm like, it's so much like, we sometimes, like I said, we can carry this shame she has so much shame because of she had this child out of wedlock, and she hasn't been able to forgive herself and realize that this was never her shame. And so I think this is kind of your reading where, you know, there's a lot of shame here that you're carrying, and you've never been able to forgive yourself. And you need to work through this shame because it was never yours. And it's still not yours. And we talked about the generational trauma at the beginning. This was something that was handed down to you. This shame is not yours. And so how do you start to heal? Heal the shame that you're carrying. The Ten of Swords comes here. And again, the Ten of Swords talks about all these, like I said, the swords are belief systems. They're things that people told us about yourself. So there's things like, you know, you don't deserve this, or you're stupid, or it just all these unworthy comments that you know your own unworthy comments that you tell yourself. You're worth nothing. They're all right here, and there's 10 of them, and you finally got to the end where your mind spinning is doing you in, like you're completely done here, and you are at a point where, you know, it's time. I think you realize that it's time that there needs to be a change here, because like I said, there's there's 3 5s in this reading. So it's time for a change, and the tarot wants to give you the guidance. Let's move on now. You're sitting in your head telling yourself all these belief systems, but we need to move on here. The universe wants to take you. This is in reverse here, and it's blocked, and maybe there's a resistance on your part to going here, but the universe wants to take you. Do you see these walls back here, these walls that you feel trapped in right now? The universe wants to take you beyond those walls. Here are 4 wands here. Now, wands are meant to be, wands take us into the direction of our purpose, of what we're meant to do here on this earth. And it could be something small, it could be something big. And the wands here are not meant to be planted in the ground. This is the number 4, and it's a very stable card. It's a but these 2 individuals here are celebrating because they've walked away from this walled city that's been keeping them trapped in there. And so the universe wants to take you beyond those walls, take you through those walls, maybe take you through these wands, because this is a victory for you. This can be a victory for you. So I see here that there is a way out of this, and the universe is wanting now for you to, the universe knows that you've been sitting in a lot of pain, a lot of shame, and the universe wants to take you. And maybe these walls here are these, I did talk about religion. I did talk about the way you were raised with the Hierophant card over here. And maybe this is the institution you were raised, these belief system about what's right and what's wrong. The universe wants you now to walk away from that, right? To shed that shame of what you've learned as a child. It was not yours. The Queen of Wands comes in here. She's in reverse. Now, I talked about the King card earlier and how the King is our masculine part of us, the ego self. The Queen is the feminine part of us. And she has beautiful, beautiful qualities that has been repressed for a long time, but she's making a comeback. The Queen of Wands she's in an upright position, and she's blocked right now, but she's all about purpose. She's all about taking our life into the direction that we want to go in. She's all about authenticity. And she wants you to be creative. And when I mean creative, I mean she wants you to do what you want to do for once. She wants you to whatever step it takes to take your life in that direction. And so does the tarot. But she's in reverse now. So when the Queen is in reverse, she can often be sitting in with some depression. She can also be sitting in a little bit of anger sometimes, because she wants to take her life into the direction that she wants to go in. This is all about your purpose and what you want to do. And the last card here ends off with a beautiful card for you. You may not think that you can tackle this. Because, you know, the universe is asking you a lot here. It is a lot to tackle the shame that you've taken on here. But it leaves you with the Strength card. Beautiful card to end off your reading, Leo. It's the strength to go inwards. This is what this is. This individual right here is feeling very, very comfortable in her own skin. She's not full of shame. She's not full of anxiety. She's not full of depression. She knows that there are so many opportunities out there for her with this infinite amount of this lemniscate she has on her head, you know, sign of infinity here. She has no problem with going inwards. She's ready to face what's coming. And Leo, I know you have the strength to do this. And what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to leave you with a playlist that I have on shame. And I really think it's important for you to understand where this came from and really to start to believe that this is not yours. This shame was never yours. Someone gave it to you. And now it's time to shed it. So take care, Leo, and I'll see you in June. Bye-bye.